Wife cheating on me changed my life forever. It had been a long, hard week. I was tired and not in the best of moods. Business was going great, but my personal life sucked. As soon as I stepped out of the truck, the sounds and atmosphere of my world immediately came over me. My name is Garrett Terrell. I own and operate the largest gravel pit in this part of the state. My business is solid and I make a good living. It's noisy, dirty, and very annoying, but I make good money because I'm willing to put up with all the garbage this job requires. I paused for a moment and looked around my empire before entering the two-bedroom that serves as my office. "Good morning, boss. You look like hell. Did you spend another night with Johnny Walker or one of his brothers?" The office was run by Nikki Lomax, and she also kept an eye on my personal life as best she could. "Nah, I just finished a six-pack of Black and Tan and watched reruns of Justified. I didn't even go to bed, just passed out in a chair." "There's a stack of papers on your desk and a list of phone calls you need to answer. When you come to your senses, I have more important things to do, which we'll talk about later. By the way, the State Correctional Services guy will be here at 9. "What does he need? We file all the reports, don't we?" "Yes, sir. I think he has 2 new guys he wants you to consider." "Half of our labor force is ex-cons. How many does he think we should take in?" Nikki only smiled and shrugged. She was one of the first people I hired. I spent the morning taking care of business. It was nearing noon when Nikki brought in the lunch containers and placed them on my desk. The lunch came with a diet root beer, Nikki's choice. "Okay, what's so important that you feel you need to sit down at the table?" "Your wife is cheating." "Well, that's not news. We've known about it for over a year." "I heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend that it's going to get worse." "Wow, that sounds like a line from an old song. What are you talking about?" "Carla's planning something. The best I can figure out is that it has to do with Hunter. Hunter Ellis and I started Empire Enterprises over 20 years ago. Things went well for the first few years and then it fell apart. I was trying to build the business on a solid, stable foundation with minimal debt. Hunter felt we were better off expanding with creative financing. The disputes intensified over the years, and soon we were no longer communicating with anyone except through lawyers. The arguments became very acrimonious, and were one step away from physical violence when the lawyers finally stopped. Hunter stayed at Empire Concrete, and I stayed at Empire Stone and Gravel. There was no love lost between the two of us. "So, little Ms. Know-It-All?" "What?" said your friend who knows a friend. "Carla has an appointment every week at Lunessa Coiffure with Marcus, her favorite. For some important reason, she likes to talk to Marcus about personal things. Marcus is a very good listener." Something sounds suspicious. "You're right. I have a feeling she's feeding Marcus." "You mean she's waiting for him to blab?" I nodded in response. "So, little Miss Nikki, how did you get into this mess?" "Sabrina, my current favorite of the month and roommate, is one of his shampoo girls. He was trying to impress her." "And what do you think I'm supposed to do? If this was real, I'd probably kill the asshole." For some reason, that doesn't sound right. Hunter was never close to Carla, even when we were on good terms. He always thought I made a big mistake marrying her and made me realize it. Why would he want to get involved with her now? "Garrett! It may be none of my business, but did you get a prenup before you got married?" 3 seconds later, Nikki had to duck when my half-full can of Daddy's root beer hit the wall behind her. "No, I didn't need a prenup. I was in love. Stupid, stupid, stupid." Nikki didn't argue with me. She knew I was right. I didn't finish my lunch. I just grabbed my helmet and hopped out of the office. I had a lot to do around the yard and in the barns. I needed to kill time and try to cool off. I never thought Hunter could be interested in Carla in a love context, but he might have stooped low enough to seduce her for business reasons. Was he thinking about getting the gravel business? If I filed for divorce, I could lose half of it to this cheating woman. Was that his plan? What was in it for her? Carla and I still cohabited, but that was the end of it. We shared a house, but not a bed. She had her own car and credit cards. I paid the bills and put up with her. Sometimes she didn't come home. I didn't care. 2 hours later, I was back in the office. You have a meeting with Hunter at the Nut Bar at 4 o'clock. He said it's important. Nikki, I haven't talked to Hunter in years, and now he wants a meeting. I don't like that. How would you feel about coming with me? No way, Jose. And when you go, leave the makeshift in the office. We can't have you going off half-cocked. Who is this we you speak of? The 38 guys who work here, dummy. What are they going to do if you get arrested? Leave that gun in your desk drawer. I got there a little early and ordered a pitcher and 2 glasses. I assumed he was coming alone. Hunter was a big simpleton. He looked like a biker, but he never owned a motorcycle. He had a beard, a ponytail, a vest, and tattoos. But no motorcycle. He wasn't a wannabe. He was just Hunter. Conversation at the bar stopped when he walked in, but resumed when he sat down. I hope you take better care of your business than you do your wife. That's not my problem anymore. I gave up trying 3 years ago. Why is it a problem? Garrett, that cheating woman has been hitting on me for the last month. She's been coming into the store regularly and calling my cell phone. She knows where I spend my weekends and shows up there all the time. One evening, she parked her car on the street in front of my house and left it there overnight. She wasn't in the house, but that's what it looked like. Was this reported to you? No. That was the first I heard of it. You said she did not go into the house? No, I never saw her. She keeps asking me to go with her to dinner or to the dance. Garrett, no offense, my friend, but I don't like that woman. Neither do I. It's getting worse. I heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend that she had something going on with Vincent DeNino. What is this, REO Speedwagon Week? That's the second time I've heard that phrase today. What are you talking about? Forget about it. What did you hear? It's so stupid you wouldn't believe it. I didn't believe it the first time I heard it. I had to check it out. Go on. You've got my attention. Carla must be having an affair with me. She chose me because you and I are mortal enemies. Good. We hate each other, but mortal enemies is over the top. That's what I thought, too. Anyway, when you find out about this, one of 2 things will happen. Either you'll shoot me, or if you don't, Vincent will have one of his buddies shoot me and frame you. Either way, you'll end up in jail. So why didn't I find out about the affair? For several reasons. First, I have absolutely no interest in having an affair with Carla. Like I said, I can't stand the woman. Second, it seems she hasn't been able to hint to you that she's having an affair with me, so she can't even begin. That's funny. I've known about her affair with DeNino for the last 6 months, and I don't really care. Frankly, I don't care that you're having an affair with her. I don't understand why they're making this so complicated. Why doesn't Vincent just have one of his guys finish you off and be done with it? Why doesn't he just frame me for your death? Why would he frame anyone? The guy owns 3 car dealerships and 2 car washes. What more does he need? The pitcher was empty. The waitress came over and we turned the glasses over at the same time. Old habits die hard. When we stood up, I asked, "Same time next week?" He only nodded. Carla didn't come home that evening. How did the meeting go yesterday, boss? I handed her the tape recorder, which she snatched up with one hand. Here, see for yourself. I sat down in my office and started making a list of things to take care of. Business could take care of itself, but my personal life was falling apart. None of it made sense. Nothing was adding up. It was completely stupid. The more I worked at it, the worse I got. I was starting to get frustrated. Nikki knocked and slowly opened the door. She walked in and tossed a folder of travel agency tickets on my desk. I looked up at her and shrugged. The guys decided you needed a break. They all did their part. It's for 4 days and 3 nights in Montego Bay. The plane leaves tomorrow morning at 9. I'll drive you to the airport. I didn't say anything. I had just gathered my things when there was a knock on the door. I had never seen her before, but she seemed awfully familiar. She walked past me, threw her small travel bag on the bed, and sank down next to me. You're not from around here, are you? That brought a wide smile to my face. I'm Trini, Nikki's sister. I'm supposed to make sure you stay out of trouble and sober. I thought you looked familiar. Same eyes, same smile, but her hair was braided a little tighter than Nikki's. I had a question about her sexual identity. You're a big guy, Garrett. I'm glad Nikki got a room with a double bed. My question was answered. Trini had been here before. She knew where to go and what to do. The 4 days flew by quickly, and we missed all the tourist spots. The first 2 days we spent too much time in the room, but then we made up for it. We drank moderately, but overindulged in food. Life was good. Trini flew back with me, and Nikki met us at the airport. She dropped me off at my house, and Trini went home with her. The house was empty. I mean, Carla wasn't there, and it seemed like a lot of her stuff was missing. Her cell phone was on the kitchen table. Her car was gone. I quickly checked the bank and found no abnormal activity there. Just her usual ATM withdrawals. However, I closed all credit cards just in case. She didn't take any of my stuff and generally left a bunch of her own in the house. There was probably only so much you could fit in the car. I couldn't tell how long she was gone. There were no notes or messages. I had been at work for about an hour when the police arrived. It turned out that Vincent DeNino had disappeared, and I was the prime suspect because of his relationship with my wife. They didn't try to spare my feelings. I had no trouble proving my whereabouts for the past 4 days. They had no idea where my wife was, or that she was even missing. However, they were polite enough to take a missing persons report. For some reason, they didn't think Carla and Vincent were together, but they never explained why. Nikki and Trini spent the next day removing all of Carla's belongings from the house. We had a hard time without Nikki in the office. The next day, they drove to Philadelphia and picked up Trini's stuff. She moved into the house without even asking. What a ballsy thing to do. Hunter got the same interrogation from the local police that I did. He didn't have as good an alibi as I did, but they covered for him anyway. Vincent had no close relatives, but there were relatives in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, none of them wanted anything to do with his car dealerships or car washes. Hunter and I spent the day going over everything that had happened and never realized what they were trying to accomplish. Our relationship was almost back to normal, so something worked out. We started working together again. 2 months later, I received divorce papers in the mail from Reno. I gave them to Nikki and told her to take care of everything. She hugged me tightly, but not as tightly as Trini did when I got home. Boss, I heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend that Vincent DeNino's relatives want to make a deal on his old business. Nikki, you're listening to those old songs again. REO Speedwagon weren't even that good. Of course they were. You just don't appreciate the good stuff when you hear it. Anyway, a few guys want to talk to you about it. With cons or straight guys? Both. 60 days later, Empire Enterprises was the proud owner of 3 car dealerships and 2 car washes. Oh, did I forget to mention that Hunter and I had merged the businesses again. I always wondered why Nikki sent me on that trip to Jamaica, but I don't want to know. The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you!